alright, just shut up, I know, it's gonna take a while until I can fucking make a portal with my hands. Just give me a fucking second, I know I can do it, just, you know what, turn around so I can do it. I can only do it when you're not looking, almost, maybe it's the other way, is it the other hand, I don't know, just shut up, let me do this, I can do this, I'm gonna make a portal, and then walk through it, watch this, check out this shit, it's gonna be awesome. Alright, I can't do it, it's fucking stupid, this was a waste of time, I'm sorry. Hello everybody, Jock12 back here again with another video. Yes, I'm back doing another Marvel video, and I know it's been a while since I've done anything Marvel, and it's not because I'm trying to favor DC or vice versa, it's just, well, lately in general I've just been too unmotivated to make videos for anything, so it's just been very hard to get down and do videos I want to. However, in the month of November, I do have a specific checklist of videos I need to get out by the end of this month, so Doctor Strange is just something that's on that list, and on top of that, it just recently came out, so I'm doing a review for it, and it's a little late and overdue, mostly due to the fact that I tried to do it earlier. However, my tongue, for some reason, I just couldn't do it without just bleeding out the mouth. I don't know what happened, but my tongue just started, I guess my gums might have exploded or something, and I just been spitting out blood for like the last day or so, you know, it's hard to fucking make videos, people. It just is. So get off my back. But you know what? Disregarding any of my nonsense, let's get into my official review and personal thoughts on Marvel's Doctor Strange. Yes, this is my long overdue review for it. It has come out over here in the States, and I'm here to give you my personal thoughts on it, and of course, seeing as how it has come out internationally, and over here in the States and other English-speaking countries, I'm here to give you my spoilerific review, so of course, if you've not seen it, please go check it out, because this review will contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into this film. Now, Marvel's Doctor Strange is the latest installment in the Disney Studios and Marvel Studios, Marvel's Cinematic Universe, and it is directed by Scott Derrickson, produced by Kevin Feige, and of course stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Rachel McAdams, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Benedict Wong, Mads Mikkelsen, and of course Tilda Swinton. And overall, the story of Doctor Strange is essentially the origins of a high-class surgeon who goes over a ending career fatal accident and essentially goes to an eastern part of the world to, I guess, heal himself and essentially gain mystical arts of sorcery and becomes a superhero. And then there's a whole bunch of other like mythical, physical, and psychological profiling that goes into the film synopsis, but seeing as how I'm too stupid and idiotic to come out with a logistical summary for it, I'm just going to say it's complicated, watch it, there you go. It's superheroes, folks. It's comic books. But with that being said, let's get into Doctor Strange. Now, Doctor Strange, from the get-go, has been a Marvel film I have been loathing to check out. I have not been one of the multiple people of newcomers to the MCU and hardcore old comic book fans that have been looking forward to Doctor Strange. I just am not that guy. I just never was interested in Doctor Strange comics growing up. At most, or at best, I might have liked Doctor Strange for maybe like a month because he was featured in like the X-Men, which was my favorite thing growing up. I mean, when it came to me in Marvel, X-Men was always my thing, which is why I love it to death and still love it. However, they did a lot of crossovers. They did a lot of cool things, and Doctor Strange kind of showed up and did his thing, and I thought he had a cool cape, and he had cool, like, sorcery-esque powers, and I got into him, and then I lost interest. Like a lot of various characters, you just lose interest in them, and Doctor Strange was that. And ever since the beginnings of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I've never was interested in them trying to attempt to do a live-action adaptation to that character. Like, ever since they finished Avengers and were like, oh, we're gonna do it, and then they referenced in Winter Soldier and we're like, oh shit, Doctor Strange, he's coming, and I just never really cared. As much as I really love the MCU, I just don't care about certain IPs that they try to adapt. That's just my personal opinion. However, if I've learned anything from, I guess, being overly negative towards IPs that Marvel continues to try and adapt with their Marvel Cinematic Universe is that I am completely wrong when it comes to the majority of them. I mean, Guardians I completely thought was going to be garbage. I was absolutely wrong about that. Ant-Man I thought was going to be cartoon cheese, and even though it is kind of cheesy, it still came out as being a very entertaining, family-friendly film. And Doctor Strange, after coming out and seeing it in full, coming from a naysayer, coming from a guy who from the get-go was going in a negative light, I can honestly say I am so entertained from this film. This has to be the most fun and entertaining Marvel movie I've come out of in a long time. And that's saying a lot, because usually I get that kind of value from like a Captain America movie or even Avengers movies. But this one was very interesting. I love the entire experience, and if there's something to take away from Marvel's Doctor Strange, is that this is definitely a Marvel film that you should definitely, and I keep saying definitely, I don't know why I keep saying it so many times, excuse my horrible grammar, but it's a movie you should check out. It's a movie you should check out in either 3D or an IMAX. It's just so beautiful, and the way Marvel continues to expand their universe is just too beautiful for words to explain, and it's something you should just go out of your way to see in 3D or in IMAX. It's just the way to go. But with that being said, starting off with my positives, overall the cast. The cast is really well done. Benedict Cumberbatch, from the beginning, I guess I could get a lot of shit for this or hate from it, but I've never been a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan. He's obviously made a name for himself in doing stuff like Star Trek or Sherlock, and a lot of fans love him for that, but for me personally, I kind of find Benedict Cumberbatch an overrated actor. Like, he's never really done anything that I've come out of being like, oh shit, that guy, he is the best actor in anything I've ever seen. Like, I never really got that. However, after seeing him in this film, he is pretty much disregarding all the amazing fan castings that we all did in the prior pre-production of this film, is probably the best Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange, that Marvel could produce. He is awesome, he is witty, he is fun, he is essentially another Robert Downey Jr. incarnate, and that has also a lot to do with the fact that the character of Doctor Strange was of course created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, and his character is pretty much just a parallel of Tony Stark. So it does make a lot of sense that even in the story and the performance of Benedict brings to the table, he's very much just another Tony Stark. He's very cocky, he's full of himself, and over the course of very life-changing events does change his views on the world and himself, and thinking that there are more important things out there than himself. So it's really cool to see that dynamic, and I think Benedict completely destroys. And after this, I can definitely say Benedict is phenomenal. I am stupid. I'll accept that. But moving off of that, Chiwetel Ejiofor, he is a destroyer of an actor. He is phenomenal, and I completely support him in this film. This film is probably and I've heard a lot of people say this, which is it's the closest thing to a villain or an anti-hero's origin story, and that has a lot to do with the way Doctor Strange, you know, kind of navigates towards the story of the movie, but also with Chiwetel Ejiofor's Mordor character. He is so compelling, he's so interesting. However, it's a very him realizing that everything he believes in is not true, in the fact that he just can't trust anybody, and he goes on a path where he goes rogue. And it's very interesting, and I feel like it's completely complementary towards the movie. And I know a lot of people have been making parallels, like, oh, that's very Green Lantern-esque of a choice, but, and also, I guess, Doctor Strange doing his thing is also very Batman Begins-esque as well. But overall, it's just, that's comic books. Comic books, whether it be Marvel or DC, do have parallels with each other, so I don't say it's more or less a nitpick. It's just something that complements the story, especially the way they execute it, so I don't see a big problem in it. And I have to say Chiwetel Ejiofor, for the most part, destroys in every single project he's in, and this film is no different. He's fun, he's awesome, he's badass, he kicks ass, and it's just a really cool, compelling story of his rise and fall from grace, and of course him possibly ending up being a future villain for Doctor Strange to combat in future Doctor Strange movies or Marvel movies. So I definitely look forward to that, and he's fucking awesome. Moving off of that, I guess if there's anything else, Benedict Wong was fucking awesome. Ironically, his character was named Wong, and he's just awesome. Once again, his role kind of has a parallel with my major difficulty with the landscape and scope of the movie's changes. And that also has to do with the Ancient One, which is Tilda Swinton. Now, I don't want to make this video review kind of like my way of saying like, oh, the changes that they did were wrong, or the way they used characters' races were wrong. I'm not going to say that, and I'm not going to try and make that an effect in this movie review, but all I can really say is Benedict Wong was awesome. I just wish there was more of him. And when it comes to Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, I think she was great. I think she was brilliant. And Tilda Swinton has obviously proved that she is a phenomenal actress. And there's no difference in this film. This movie has awesome actors doing awesome things, and she's no different. However, I'll definitely say this. If there's anything I'd like to accomplish with this review, is that I want people to realize, no matter how racial or nitpicky certain comic book fans can be, or even myself, I want people to realize that no matter that kind of critical thinking, is that there are significant changes and sacrifices certain studios do for characters and the way they're used in today's mainstream audiences. And for the most part, when it comes to Marvel's Doctor Strange, there are significant changes. There's a lot of things that are done, especially with the characters, and a good example of that is Tilda Swinton's Ancient One. And for me personally, I understand Marvel's reasoning behind this. I understand the reasoning behind why they needed the international success that they gathered. I know the reasoning behind them changing from Tibet to where they ended up in the film, and the changes of race and genders. I just want people to realize that no matter how much a specific studio tries to bury the embarrassments or history that people may not like, it's still there, and it's still a part of the history of what Marvel is really based on. So, with that being said, all I can really say is, it's great to see the final product that they ended up with, and I love it. However, no matter all the critical or financial success Marvel gets with this film, that there were sacrifices and changes with characters, genders, and ethnic backgrounds to the Doctor Strange movie. So, disregarding that, that's really all I really wanted to say, and that's really all I'm going to say moving forward with this review. Moving off of that, I guess if there's anything else I loved about Doctor Strange, has to be the direction. Scott Derrickson, I've been a fan of his for a while. He's been really an interesting director, going from like very B-level kind of horror and science fiction films, and to move on to a movie of this scope is really awesome to see him really flourish. If there's something Marvel has really done good, is give directors that haven't done movies of a scope of a Marvel Cinematic Universe or an Avengers level movie can really shine, and they've done a really great job at that. And Scott Derrickson is definitely another, I guess you can say, success story with directors who don't have the scope or success that you would think a director should have going into these kind of movies, but still succeeds. And he does a great job with his directing style. And everything else has to be the visuals. The way they shot this film and the way they show off Doctor Strange's powers and the multiple Easter eggs for the expansion of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the multiverse, all these different realms and worlds that Doctor Strange exposes is so beautiful and amazing. And it's one of those things that Ant-Man definitely led the way for us to really get that in these different realms, the quantum realm and all these crazy things, and Dormammu and how his powers are used and all these crazy things. And it's just so awesome. And the time gem is introduced to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which will obviously play a heavy effect in Infinity War, and just everything else. It's just so good the way they were able to just show off Doctor Strange's powers and the worlds that Marvel can go off on in future movies and storylines. So everything else just really brilliant. The movie kicks ass in all these different areas, whether it be directing, writing, music, action, visual effects, the style. Everything is really badass. If there's any kind of nitpicks, I would definitely say is the fighting styles with certain characters. They definitely had a lot of like 3D modeling going on. When you like, it's just very obvious when you look back. There's a lot of camera back shots where you just see like characters fighting and doing things, and crazy like Black Widow-esque moves when they're just moving and doing parkour type shit, where it's just very obviously 3D models. which is a bummer, but it is what it is. Everything else is still awesome, and that's pretty much the only nitpicks I have. But moving off of that, let's get into my major negatives, or negatives of this film. Well, overall, moving off of that and getting into my negatives, there's always one big giant negative / question mark you have to ask yourself going into any Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, which of course is this: does the villain suck? And unfortunately, if you know me and my personal hype for Doctor Strange, then you would know that I was looking forward to two basic things in this film, which is, of course, Rachel McAdams as the love interest, and, of course, Mads Mikkelsen as the main villain of Doctor Strange. And coming out of it, yes, this is more or less nitpicks, but it does align with my negatives, because they are negative. They are the two biggest disappointment aspects of this film. There's a lot of really cool things in Doctor Strange. Hell, there's even Benjamin Bratt. Benjamin Bratt's in this movie, and he kicks ass. He was fucking awesome. Like, I loved him in this movie. They made him awesome. They made a lot of shit in this movie that shouldn't be awesome. Really cool. They made a Beyonce joke, and that was awesome. However, how do you make the greatest character, actor, villain in our generation suck a big bag of dicks? I don't know. The Marvel train once again ruins another great possible villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I could be the only one in this. I haven't really heard anybody else's thoughts and discussions for the main villain of Doctor Strange. But for me personally, I look forward to Chiwetel Ejiofor, his character and his evolution to becoming a main villain moving forward. Right now he's kind of an anti-hero, and he's moving towards villainy, and I feel like he has the capabilities of being a great Loki, or even a Thanos, if you will. We'll see what happens in the future of the MCU, but for this singular film and storyline, Mads Mikkelsen is so underused and completely just a waste of time. I understand where Scott Derrickson and the rest of the writers of Doctor Strange were going for in creating his villain archetype, but at the end of the day, he's very much a hack, bland, typical, generic Marvel villain. And I really am sick and tired of Marvel doing this with their villains. And moving forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they really need to fix this problem, because now they're starting to get into Spider-Man territory. And if there's anything we all know and realize, is that Spider-Man has the best villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you can't fuck up on that. But so far, they've been fucking up on their villains, and Mads Mikkelsen is that. Overall, over the course of the story, his storyline and archetype is essentially, he is a fallen sorcerer of the Ancient One, and now he's using his powers and using the dark arts to release a villainous character known as Dormammu. And Dormammu is stuck in this specific realm, but he has the power of eternal life or what have you, and he can have that and use that power to give it to anybody else. And that's essentially what Mads Mikkelsen and his followers really want. They want this power of eternal life, and they want Dormammu to take control of their world, because they feel like it's a better world with him in it. And that's essentially what they're doing. They're basically pawns in a chess game that these characters are on. And it's boring as all hell. Mads Mikkelsen is so underused, and when he is used, he's a waste of time, because all he does is just run around, do the weird sorcery power stuff. He kills people with like see-through glass or whatever, and he has drones, or followers, if you will, but they're mostly like drones. It's basically like Ultron all over again. You got a really cool talkative villain with a cool voice, but his followers are just nameless, talkless drones who don't really do anything. And that's pretty much what the villains of Doctor Strange are. They are completely bland, hack Marvel villains. And it's very disappointing, because Mads Mikkelsen has proved himself to be a great character actor and antagonist for most projects. Look at him in Casino Royale. Look at him in the amazing Hannibal series. He kicks ass. He is a serial murderer. He is awesome. But they completely underuse him and just ruin him in this film. I mean, like, hell, it takes a large portion of Doctor Strange where you actually hear dialogue come out of his mouth. And majority of the movie, he's just running around. It's cool what he's doing, and when he does talk, it's interesting, and you feel compelled, because he has that awesome Mads Mikkelsen voice that I love to hear so much, because he's so awesome. But other than that, it's really nothing. He's just a hack, bland villain. He's another Ultron with drones, Yellow Jacket, Ironmonger-esque villain. That's pretty much all he is. It's really sad, because I was just really hyped for him, and it was really just a big disappointment. And that pretty much goes for the rest of villains, but moving off that and going into Rachel McAdams, she wasn't really the worst thing out of the movie, but I was very much disappointed with her character. She kind of has a Pepper Potts-esque kind of thing with him, and when it comes to the character of Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange. Granted, like I mentioned earlier, Stephen Strange and Tony Stark have a lot of parallels. They're pretty much the same guy, except they have different powers and abilities. However, their relationship is the same thing. She's like his second in command. She's also a surgeon. She's really successful. She's really good at what she does. She's obviously very fucking beautiful. However, their relationship and how it progresses or devalues over the course of the story and movie is just unwatchable to me. It's just every single time they're on, I'm always hoping like, yes, this is good, this is, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. It just fizzles out into nothingness. And granted, I guess that's for the progression of the Doctor Strange character, I guess, which is he's supposed to be a guy who will sit in his sanctum and just protect the world from the dark arts, and that's his life now, and he can't be with her because this is his life now. It's a very melancholy Thor, Natalie Portman kind of thing going on, and it was very disappointing. She is awesome, she's very entertaining, she's very good, but when it comes to my nitpicks and when it comes to my negatives, she was just very much disappointing. I wanted more out of her, and I really didn't get that. But overall, moving off of that, let's get into my final verdict. My final verdict for Doctor Strange, Marvel's Doctor Strange, has to be a solid 9 out of 10. For a guy like myself who was completely not excited and completely unhyped for this film, I came out of it completely loving it. I love the shit out of Doctor Strange. I can't wait to see the sequels. I feel just the same way I did with Guardians, or even Ant-Man to a certain extent, which is I didn't expect anything, and now I am so overly hyped, I can't wait to see the next installment for these characters. So, overall, Doctor Strange is a big win for Marvel, and a big win for comic book fans all over who want to see more of the obscure and the strange of the comic book verses. But with that being said and done, comment below, let me know what you personally think about my personal thoughts on Marvel's Doctor Strange and my verdict. And with that being said and done, if there's any shameless plugs or updates I can give, because I need to end this video already before my fucking feet explode because of how numb they are. Essentially, my next video when it comes to Marvel-related content will be my Luke Cage, my overdue, long-awaited Luke Cage Season 1 review, which will probably be coming out sometime by the end of this month or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But with that being said and done, this has been Josh12, and I hope you guys enjoyed my review for Marvel's Doctor Strange.